Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Gloria Diaz-Ventura, Director of Admission at Flint Ridge Sacred Heart Academy, and I'd like to welcome my colleague, Christine Maurer, our Business Office Director and Director of Financial Aid. Tonight, our goal is to walk you through our admissions and financial aid application process. So this truly is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have. We really want to make sure that you feel comfortable and are aware of all the steps that are required. And before we get started, I just wanted to let you know a few housekeeping things. We will be recording this session. So if you or your partner have missed it or want to see it again, we're happy to make it available to you, and we'll do so when it's available in the next couple days. Additionally, feel free to use the chat function. Happy to answer your questions. We do ask that you allow us to complete our presentations, and then that way we can have a Q&A session at the end of both of our presentations. So timing-wise, we will each be speaking for 20 minutes and then have allotted the remaining time for question and answer. So I will also, if you find that I'm a little distracted, I'm admitting people as they come in, but otherwise we'll go ahead and get started. So I wanted to begin by providing an overview of the admission process and walk you through this kind of mock exercise so you have a sense of how we shape our class. That is truly what we do in admissions every year, is putting a group and a community of scholars together. And so to begin, we always start with what our goal is, right? We are a day and boarding school founded by the Dominican Sisters of San Jose, and our mission is rooted in our Dominican charism and dedicated to educating students for a life rooted in faith, integrity, and truth. So we know that that is our mission, and that is what we begin with. Now, our community values connection, and we're looking for students who impact the communities of which they are a part. We value diverse perspectives, voices, and cultures, and our current students are inspired to question and push academic boundaries. So we look for students who exemplify these character traits and who are interested and interesting. So how do we assess this? Let me walk you through the exercise, as I mentioned, of shaping a class, and it begins with our recruitment effort. Imagine each of us are admission directors here today, and we are charged to shape the next incoming 9th grade class at Flint Ridge Sacred Heart Academy. So we also consider our location being in the greater Los Angeles area, and geographic diversity is rich and expansive here, and we want to reflect that. So before we head out to visit schools and meet with prospective families, we need to know how many spaces we have to fill. So we have 350 spaces for our day program, and we have 50 spaces for our boarding program. And we do manage both programs and initiatives in our office. And so for the day program, we do aim to enroll 100 new 9th grade day students this upcoming fall, allowing us to maintain an average class size of 17 students. So what do we consider? Let's take a look at our application. Our application consists of two parts, the quantitative and the qualitative section. So let's begin with the qualitative section, which consists of 5 components: letters of recommendation, short answers, the interview, and the in-person essay. And I'm sorry, I meant 4 parts. So again, recommendations, short answers, in-person essay. So let's begin with what that consists of. So letters of recommendation. We asked you to submit 3 letters of recommendation, one letter from your principal or guidance counselor, one letter from your English teacher, your student's English teacher, and your student's math teacher. Now, a little side note, we understand for public middle schools, it might not be as easy to secure these recommendations, and we are happy to work with you on that. For those where this applies, we ask that if you have a tutor who would know, who would be able to provide an insight into how your student learns, that would be really helpful to us. If you have a coach or a service leader to write on your child's behalf, that would also be helpful. The goal of these letters are to show us what your student is like in the classroom, and also what they're like in terms of their character, and what they're like outside of the classroom. In terms of the short answers, so as many of you have already noticed, we're happy that we have a little over 100 families who have already started our application. And so for those of you who have, you've seen that we ask the students and the parents to complete short answers. These are really valuable to us to understand where you are seeing the match with our school and your family, and where your child is seeing the match with our school and with her goals and with her personality. And so really we're trying, there's no right or wrong answer. We really just want to ask how you see your child thriving here on our campus. The next section is the interview. So after we receive the application, we will contact you to schedule an interview. We actually are starting to schedule interviews on November 1, and you will be interviewed by one of our admission committee members. And I'll go into who makes up our admission committee in a little bit. But the interview is actually, in my opinion, the most insightful. That is where we're able to make that connection, have that exchange, visit with the student, ask them questions, see how they react to our questions. There are physical responses as well as verbal responses in an interview, as many of you are aware. And so that really is an opportunity for us to engage with the family and also shed light in terms of who we are as a community, how we educate young women, and really, again, answer any questions that you might have about our student experience here. Now, all interviews must be completed by February 1st. So if we take a moment to think about the timeline, and again, I'll share these important dates again in a few moments, but the application deadline is January 15th. So we start scheduling interviews November 1st, and interviews are conducted all the way through February 1st. After that, we need to prepare the applications for our admission committee process, and that takes place the week of, I believe it's February 11th this year. And so, again, I'll mention what that looks like, what that committee process looks like. But again, that's just the timing. And the interview, again, is really an opportunity for you to ask questions. Same with the short answers. Really just giving you an opportunity to expand on who your child is and how your values match with the school. Lastly, the in-person essay. We have added this component in recent years. In all honesty, wanting to see what how your child sees themselves in real time, matching with our mission. Again, none of this is meant to stump her. None of this is a right or wrong response. We will provide her with 3 essay prompts, and she only needs to choose one. So this session lasts a total of 1 hour, and it's pen to paper. So no computer unless she needs accommodations, and we're happy to provide those. But really, again, it's an opportunity to ask her how she relates to our mission and to see how she is able to make that connection and express herself in written form. Literally what we do with the essays is every applicant is considered for merit scholarship. And so when your child is, and if they're considered for a merit scholarship, we will then pool the written essay and that will add to our evaluation. But again, it's not meant to, it's not based on, you know, in terms of the spelling or the grammatical errors. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to see how she expresses herself again in that moment. So that's the qualitative section. Again, the letters of recommendation, the interview, the short answers for students and parents, and the in-person essay. And then lastly is the quantitative section. Now that is pretty short. We do not require testing anymore. So the quantitative section really consists of the transcript, and we do review her current year transcript, so for grade 8, and we do look at grade 7. What we're looking for is academic inquiry, looking at the subjects she's strongest in, certainly looking for an upward trend. We, along with the recommendation letters, are looking for students that are curious, that are the ones that are staying after class and asking questions, and we really appreciate that curious learner. We also support and embrace the student that can benefit from being in taking part in our curriculum, who actually challenge teachers to really, if your child is a more creative thinker, to really challenge that teacher to engage with your child and find new ways to inspire and to teach. We really do that well here. So the transcript provides that insight into, again, the rigor of the curriculum that's offered at her school and looking to see how she performed with that curriculum. Now going into our admission committee. So I did reference our admission committee earlier, and we do have the committee that consists of faculty members, staff members, and administrators. So we have 12 people on that committee, and we have an additional 8 people who help with our interview process. The additional 8 interviewers are faculty members here on campus. So there are 20 people who take part in the evaluation process and review process, and all of that then equals a write-up for every single student. So we have 2 people reviewing every application. In some cases, there might be more readers, depending on the questions that might come up in the application. And then we have 3 days of discussion. So as I mentioned, our committee will be the week of February 10th, actually. And so we are really wrestling over how do we put this class together? And I say wrestling because we all have different ideas and different experiences, and that's what makes this committee and shaping the class so exciting, because we're asking questions like, are they nice? Are they curious? Are they engaged? And how have they shown that? So we deliberate and we vote. We do vote on each student. And so that's what we are taking into consideration. Also, the school that the student attends. Not every school is created equal. So we take school group into consideration as well. And so we really are proud of the questions and the amount of time that we believe each child deserves. We are hoping that we will mirror the effort that families contribute and pay to this process, and we hope that we do your child justice when we are reviewing on our end. So before I turn it over to my colleague, I would like to highlight important dates. One thing I have to stress is we cannot help with a missed deadline. Most everything else is workable, and again, as I often share in our campus tours, we are the humans behind this artful process. It's certainly not a science. It's certainly not perfect. but we understand. We are parents. We understand that there's a lot of pressure here, and a lot of school deadlines to manage. Unfortunately, we don't all have the same process, so we are empathetic with that, but it's really hard with a missed deadline. So January 11th is our first important date to note, and that is the day of our in-person essay. So we ask everyone to come up to campus, and your child will be completing her essay, and then parents will be in our theater and will take part in a parent panel. So we will have a panel that's just for you with administrators and current parents to answer any questions that you have. January 15th is our application deadline. January 21st is our financial aid application deadline. And then March 7th is when admission decisions are released, and you have 2 weeks to make a decision, and that enrollment deadline is March 21. So when your admission decision is sent to you, then within those 2 weeks, we will have an event that you can come onto campus for. We'll have different touch points, again, helping you in your final decision-making process. And lastly, I'd like to direct you to our Merit Award program, and I invite you to visit our website that outlines the 2 merit awards that we offer. So we have our Veritas Scholars program, and that is awarded to the top 1 to 3% of our applicant pool. And scholarships range from about $10,000 each, and they are renewable all 4 years. So if your daughter earns it as she's coming in, then that will, assuming her academic record doesn't dip dramatically, then she will secure that award for the 4 years that she is here. And that is the highest award that we offer. That is not based on financial need. Again, that is based on your child's academic record, her dedication to leadership and service. So again, our strongest award. And then we also offer the Sister Thea Bowman Award, and this is to a student who has demonstrated a commitment to the African American community. We named it after Sister Thea Bowman, who is a Franciscan sister who dedicated her life to working in the African American community and serving the needs of the community in faith. So if your child matches the description for that award, we certainly encourage her to apply, and we only have 1 award that's issued every year for the Sister Thea Bowman Award. All other awards out of the financial aid office are in the form of need-based aid. And again, I invite you to visit our website, our financial aid page, so you can see the breakdown of how we allocate our financial aid resources. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to my colleague, Christine.
Great. Thank you so much, Gloria, and I'm happy to be here this evening to talk to you all a bit about our financial aid program and give you some information about the application process. So I'm going to go ahead and get my slideshow started. And then as Gloria mentioned, we will definitely have time in the final portion of the evening to answer questions. So I've been with Flint Ridge Sacred Heart since 2019, so I'm in my 6th year here at the school. And as Director of Finance and Operations, I lead the business office. And the ways that my office interacts with parents are through a variety of processes. That's everything from enrollment contracts to billing accounts. I manage the need-based financial aid program. And so just a number of ways that we assist and work with parents upon enrollment at the school. So tonight I'm going to be talking about affording a Flint Ridge Sacred Heart education and also giving some specific information about our need-based financial aid program. And as I mentioned, then we can move into the Q&A portion of the evening. So we're dedicated to helping families afford a Flint Ridge Sacred Heart education. And to help make that education accessible, we offer the following: a need-based financial aid program, scholarships, Gloria had mentioned a bit about those, tuition payment plan options. We offer a 10-month payment plan, a 2-month payment plan. We do make available some student loan information with an outside vendor. And just for tonight's presentation, we're really going to be focusing on that need-based financial aid program. As Gloria mentioned, that is kind of the biggest portion of our budget and where the most of our dollars go towards. So how do we define financial aid? And that's a budgeted and integral component of our institution's overall budget model. And so that includes need-based aid, for which families must apply each year. It also includes merit-based scholarships, and as Gloria mentioned, those are renewable for subsequent years. And just an important aspect to note that financial aid is not a loan. Amounts that we award are not owed back to the school. That's unlike college loans that need to be paid back with interest. So next, we're going to get into how much tuition do families pay. So likely you guys have probably been to our website. I know a lot of families go directly to the tuition and financial aid page. They want to see, okay, how much does this school cost? So you may know that from reviewing our website that our current tuition is $32,400 per academic year. But what you may not know is that 1/3 of our students pay less than full tuition. So this pie chart breaks down, if we just look at that 1/3 of students that are paying less than full tuition, they're receiving need-based financial aid, how much are they paying? So you can see kind of in the first quarter of the pie chart, this is, these are average amounts, but you can see that approximately 1/4 of this pie, those recipients are paying approximately less than $12,000. So those would be the families kind of receiving the highest amount of aid. And then you can kind of see half those recipients, if you look at the first half of the pie chart, they're paying less than $15,000. And then if we look on average, that average need-based aid amount is $17,000 for the current academic year. So this just gives you some perspective in terms of what is possible in terms of our financial aid program. We don't have the capacity to do full ride scholarships, but we do offer some very generous ranges of scholarship assistance, or financial aid assistance. So just to kind of keep this in mind as you're kind of planning your budget, applying for financial aid, that the max need-based award goes up to 80%. So that's somewhere in the range of $7,000. So we're really, looking to our families and having that expectation that families will be able to pay kind of in that range at the lowest, amount. So that would be kind of the most we would be able to offer for need-based aid. So that just kind of gives you an idea that we definitely have a range of needs, and we do our best to meet those. And we do have kind of a range of financial aid awards that we provide. And then in terms of how we fund financial aid, that is funded through consistent support of alumni, parents, grandparents, faculty, friends, and staff. And that's through endowed scholarship funds, foundation grants, as well as what we call our Flint Ridge Fund, and that is our annual fund. And just important to note that financial aid is not funded by the federal or state government, nor by the Archdiocese of LA or any of their support organizations. It is fully funded through our organization and through our fundraising efforts. And then next, I wanted to bring up another pie chart, and this is to kind of give families some idea of what type of income would qualify me for need-based financial aid. So again, sort of what you saw with the awarding, it really is a range. And so if we look at the families that are receiving need-based financial aid for this current school year, kind of put them in buckets based on the annual household income that they reported on their financial aid application. You can see that we do have kind of that the first half of the pie chart is the under 100,000 annual, and then the 100,000 to 150. And then you can see it kind of goes all the way up to kind of higher income levels. But if you look on average, the total family financial resources is approximately $170,000. And in terms of those numbers, when they get higher up, just what you have to keep in mind is that the financial aid application really looks at a number of different factors with each household. So, we may have larger household sizes with the families that have higher income. There could be a number of different things going on that would still qualify them. But just also know that when we're doing our assessment, if we do assess that a family does not demonstrate need, we are not able to provide financial aid to those families. So, sometimes that does happen, that a family does not qualify. And so it can be kind of challenging to necessarily, when I'm talking to a family, tell them if they're going to qualify or not. It really is part of the process to kind of go through our financial aid application, and we really kind of ask the questions to make sure that we're looking individually at each particular household financial situation when we're assessing if there is need, or if they're demonstrating need or not. And then just another point about that, so our need-based aid for the current year, our awarding, can range all the way from $4,000 all the way up to, once it gets up to like the $25,000, that's getting, closer to that max 80%. That would be the highest range of our need-based financial aid. Okay, so in summary for this portion of the presentation, let's see if we fit with one another. So our program is designed to, in good faith, partner with families as they consider the best educational choice for their daughter and assess their family resources, review applications for financial aid with integrity and consistency of approach, and speak truth to the limits of our financial resources, and communicate clearly with families. So next, I'm going to go into a bit of the logistics on applying for financial aid. So the main place I just would advise families to start is that tuition and financial aid page on our website at ffha.org. It's under the admissions tab. I'm sure many of you have been to this page already, but there's just general information about financial aid, FAQs, contacts if you have questions. And so, a good place to start is downloading forms. We have all kinds of guides from Clarity, who is our partner in financial aid, and that just gives you a good starting point to kind of let you know what you're going to need as you move into the next step, which is applying on the Clarity website. So we did switch to Clarity for this school year, and this would be our first year working with them. We were previously on FACTS. So, just know that we're sort of onboarding and kind of working with them, but so far it's been really, really easy on our side to get everything set up. And I hope as you're using the system that you also feel that it's a very easy, intuitive, very navigable process. So they're definitely here to help you as well. But here I've got the link to navigate to start your application, and just a couple points here that are on our website. Just know that there is a $60 non-refundable application fee, but you can share your application with additional schools. So once you're in, you can select other schools and you don't need to pay another fee. And so also just know that it also takes 30 minutes on average to complete. So it's really mobile friendly. And so, hopefully, just want to encourage you to get it started and just give it a try and see. I think you'll find that it moves very quickly through the information that it's asking for. And as I mentioned, there's in-app support. And there's many ways that you can either chat or give a call. They have extended hours during this very busy time for financial aid. And so, I hope that you are able to find the answers, but you can also contact us directly and we can assist you as well. Also wanted to mention there is a family information webinar that is actually starting right after this meeting ends at 7 p.m. The link is on our website. Once I wrap up, I can also put it in the chat if anybody's interested in registering. If you register, but you don't have time tonight, I do believe that they will send you a recording. So you may want to consider just going ahead and signing up for that. Deadlines. So we also have deadlines as well, just similarly to the admission side. So our deadline is, sorry, that is Tuesday. Looking at this now, Tuesday, January 21st. So we did make it a Tuesday because that Monday is the Martin Luther King holiday. So you get one extra day to turn that in. So just note that we set this deadline for your benefit so that we can make sure we're on track to provide financial aid decisions when those admission notification letters go out in March. And, as with many of these tools, you can definitely return to the application as many times as needed before submitting. So, you can just kind of take your time or step back if you need to and finish it later. But I just really encourage you to start as soon as possible, start going in and, making sure that you're kind of assessing how much additional time you might need to really think through what your budget is and what you're going to be able to set aside for tuition. So it is a really important kind of process to think through because, what we want to make sure is that as we're assessing, we have really straightforward information from you all. You're going to be asked to tell us how much you are able to provide in terms of tuition. And we definitely look at that and we do our best to meet that. But we want to make sure that you guys are being thoughtful about your budget and about maybe some of the, we know families make a lot of sacrifices for tuition and, really thinking through kind of how you might need to plan and adjust your household expenses over the years. So as you're kind of entering into this kind of really critical time and making a real financial commitment. So that's, just something I really ask. And then also just please, in terms of deadlines, making sure that you're meeting that deadline. We do sometimes see families that wait and then they want to wait until they get the admission decision and then they come to us and ask for financial aid, and that really makes things really challenging for us because we're trying to move through our process quickly and answer questions, and it just sort of makes it more challenging on our end. So we just really ask if you're looking at your finances and you do believe that you're going to need financial assistance, just go ahead and apply for financial aid by the deadline. You may also see on our website that you can schedule time with me. So I have opened up my calendar over the next month or so, I believe all the way through December. And so we're going to have some time in a minute here for questions, but if there's something you just want to talk to me one-on-one, you can schedule a Zoom or a phone call and we can chat. So this link is on the Tuition and Financial Aid website. Okay, thank you so much. That concludes my portion of the presentation. So we can move into the Q&A.
I have a really quick question, and I'm sorry if this was mentioned. How many scholarships in total are awarded to students?
So for merit scholarships, the Veritas, it's anywhere between 10 to 12 every year, depending on the strength of the applicant pool, and that one Sister Thea Bowman Award. So I would say 12 a year. Again, our program is rooted in financial aid. and supporting families who demonstrate need.
Mhm.
Merit is, yes, so that, I won't go into that, but yes, so that's how many we award.
And this may be a silly question. Are they combined? Like, is the merit does the merit scholarship combine with financial aid?
Yes,
It is. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
absolutely.
I have a question. I wasn't here the first couple of minutes of the opening here, so I'm not sure if I missed it. But in addition to the tuition, are there separate fees, like for example, for the athletics program, for the uniforms, for food and whatnot?
Christine, do you want to?
Yeah, so the uniforms is separate. You know, families kind of just work directly with our uniform provider. I think we give an estimate of 500, but I think it can kind of vary depending on how much you want to purchase for your daughter. And I believe the other question was about athletics also.
Yeah, athletics, and then also meals on campus, like how that's handled. They eat there.
Right.
They don't need
Yeah.
to
So
bring it.
the meals, we do have a food service program here. So they are located here on campus. They're called Culinart, and we're really lucky to have them here 24/7 because they're making meals for the boarding students, so our residents and our sisters that live in residence. So they're here every day, and they have a lunch program that they offer to the students on a daily basis. So for that, yes, so students would pay for that. That's not included in the tuition and fees. But we do have My Kids Spending accounts that we make available to the students for parents to add money to, and then the money just gets withdrawn off of that My Kids Spending account.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking for broad numbers. So you're saying like, depending on how much you want to spend, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 for the clothing. And then what's the average, just to have an idea, for athletics and for food? Like, is it 1,000 a month or on average?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for food, again, it depends. I mean, if you're just looking at entrees and, probably around $7, $8 a day, somewhere in there. And
Mhm.
then for the athletics, again, it depends, on the sport. I think they're all a little different in terms of any type of additional fee. So there isn't really anything like that my office handles across the board for athletics. It's kind of handled
Individually. Each department
individually with
or each
the
sport.
coach and the athletics department.
Got it.
I don't
Okay.
know, Gloria, is there anything else that you're
Yeah,
aware
I
of?
was just going to share in my personal experience. So my daughter's a sophomore here. I deposit 200 a month for food. And so that covers every snack she wants to buy here. Well, not every, because sometimes she can go overboard and I have to tell her that I'm not adding more than that. And then lunch every day. I don't make her lunch. So just to give you a sense of snack and lunch every day, that's how much I put in. And yes, just to echo Christine, if you're part of the equestrian program, that's going to be pricier than if you're maybe with cross country. But then again, depending on how successful they are, we go to the state meet. You have to pay for hotel rooms and all of that, and summer training. So it does range depending on the sport. But our athletic director would have a much better sense. And so I'm happy to connect you with Stephanie Contreras, and she can certainly, and then also when you enroll, we have an athletics information night where all of that is given to you in advance.
Okay, fantastic. And then, also one other thing, I mean, are there things like technology fees, books, things like that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a $500 technology fee. So that's an annual fee. So for all 4 years, it's $500 each year. And so that covers our one-to-one technology program. Every student receives a laptop when they're a freshman, when they start school. And so that includes all of the software maintenance, help desk, all of that support that we offer along with the laptop and our technology program. And yeah, and then, sorry, you had one other.
The other item was for books, or I don't know.
Then, sorry, yes.
How it works.
For the books, we do assess that kind of individually. There's not like a set fee. It's really kind of based on each student's courses that they're enrolled in every year. So we work with the high school to collect information about the codes in the books that student applies to them for that school year, and then we apply the charges in the fall. So we're just kind of getting that together for this fall, and I think on average that's around $250 to $300 per student per year.
But you were saying that depends on what type of courses they take, like if they're very science heavy versus literature
Right.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I quite hit 250 even for ninth grade. What's great is that the high school also recommends a used book company. So the most expensive textbook in ninth grade is biology. It's quite a door stopper. And I paid $10 for that, and it was in great condition. So I think a lot of what they're doing is now just digital, online. But yes, even for this year, I don't feel like we spent much. It wasn't a lot for textbooks.
Okay.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Thank you. Those are great details. Thank you.
Sure. Christine, there was a question in the chat about how much on average does tuition increase each year?
Right. Yeah. So I would say between 3% and 6%. So it's really assessed annually. There's not any hard fast number that I could tell you for sure, but I can tell you it is a range, and 3% to 6% is been kind of the range that I've seen since I've been here.
Right, thank you. Kumi, you have a question.
Hi.
Hello.
That my question goes along with the previous person, but I saw that on the website that there is a also registration fee, and if we were to take the transition the school bus, there is another fees for that too. So how much was the registration?
The new student fee? Yeah, so that's $1,500. That's a one-time charge for new families.
So there is no registration fee every year?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. We don't have what you would call a registration fee. What we have is a new student fee.
Okay.
Charged just once, that first year of enrollment.
Okay. And the bus is about 1,600?
Right. The bus program this year, it's just around 1,700 for the year. And so that's an opt-in program. So if that's your preferred way for transport for your daughter, and we hope that as many students that can join that as possible. It's really convenient, and so that the fee that's paid, that goes to the third party bus company. So we pay Mission School Transportation, and we have our yellow school buses, so that they come up and down the hill every day, and so that's why there's an additional fee for the bus program.
So those programs, do we need to pay upfront the entire amount, or do we have a payment plans for those, like not just the bus, but technology, books, registrations, all these payment other than the tuitions?
Right, yeah, so definitely the bus program, you can opt to pay that over, say if you pick a 10-month plan, we can spread that over the 10 months. For those mandatory fees, like the new student fee and the technology fee, our policy is that we collect those upfront in the first payment cycle, which is June 5th. We do, we can work with families if that's not doable. We can do some spreading of those fees, but in general, we like to collect those tuition or those mandatory fees in June and the first payment deadline.
I see, got it. One more question, sorry. For the uniform, is there like a uniform sales available?
Yes, we actually host a used uniform sale before school starts, sorry. And we also, so right after you're admitted, we host a used uniform sale, and then we also host another one prior to the first day of school. The reason why it's a little tricky is because all used uniforms are dependent upon our graduating seniors. So we have to wait for them to graduate and then donate their uniforms, and then we have enough inventory to then have a used uniform sale, which is why it's a little later. So it won't be until June is when we had it this year.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much.
Sure, sorry about that. Needed some water. We have two questions in the chat here. One is, do you find girls applying from public schools have a harder chance of getting in than those from private schools? And the answer is no. Just by the sheer number, the majority of our applicants are coming to us from private Catholic schools. But we actually enjoy public school students and seeing applications from public schools. I myself attended public middle school. My daughter attended public middle school. So I think we really appreciate our public school applicants. Just a little side note, I wish we could recruit at public schools, but we can't, right? Because we can't, middle schools don't want us on campus taking away from the local public school. So that's also why you probably don't see more of us. But what we try to do as much as we can is utilize our current public school alumni family, and they host different events, recruitment events for us to kind of help spread the word. But again, what we find is as long as you're in line with our mission, and we embrace you. The other thing I will also say is that hasn't come up is in terms of our Catholic participation, or how many of our families are Catholic. So in any given year, 50 to 60% of the girls are Catholic. And so again, we want to make sure that our families are mission aligned. We don't expect students to convert, or that's certainly not what we're looking for, but we do require students to attend our monthly masses. So I just wanted to note that as well. The other question is regarding merit scholarships. Is this grade-based? If so, for current year, previous school year, and or test-based? So I'll quickly remind everyone, we do not require testing, nor do we accept test scores. Because it's not a requirement, we cannot consider the scores. So if you're taking it for another school, we won't do anything with the scores. So it's the merit consideration is fully based on the transcript, letters of recommendation, the interviews. And again, to be perfectly honest, we're looking for straight A students here. Again, it's the top 1 to 3% of our applicant pool. So we are really looking for the very best scholars in the pool. Another question here in the chat, if your child is in a sports program, will they have a 0 period? If so, are we allowed to drive our child to school, or are they required to take the bus? During the off season, do we need to sign up for bus transportation, or what are the available options? Christine, you want to?
Okay. Sure, yeah. So in terms of there being a 0 period for the sports program, I believe cross country does practice in the morning. I don't know about the other sports, but We do have a number of zero period activities, Science Olympiad. I think there's a yearbook group that meets. So there's definitely things going on. If that's the case and your daughter is participating, that's fine. We can allow a single parent student drop off in the early part of the day. That's not a problem at all. They will not be required to take the bus because the bus pulls up about 8 a.m. or slightly before then, and school starts at 8:30. So that would be too late for zero period, which starts between, I think, 7:15 or so. So, and then if that was the case, if your daughter was, busy and had activities for a portion of the year, and the bus is just not, that wouldn't make sense to purchase for the entire school year. When we do bus passes, I mean, that might be an option, to just rely on bus passes. Those can be used both before and after school. And that might be a good, maybe more, cost-effective way to handle the transportation in that case.
Jessica.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Just a quick question, and I think I saw this on the campus tour, but are all classrooms accessible in the event of an injury? Say your daughter is in a cast and can't walk, but maybe they're in a walking boot. I know there's an elevator in the science wing, but are all other classrooms accessible?
Yes, thank you for your question. Unfortunately, we have more students injured than we care to have at times, and so we do have a security golf cart that will take them from class to class. So certainly if they don't often have a need to come to the lower campus, but if they, let's say they need to meet with the nurse will go to her if she's injured, or we will drive her down. But all you have to do is we just add them to our security team's detail for that day or week, and then they will be shuttled around. And every now and again, their friend hitches a ride too. So it's often funny to see how there are a couple girls along with the injured student. But in any rate, yes, we make sure that everything is as comfortable as possible for our students.
Thank you so much.
Great. Anything else? Okay, well, we ended a bit early here. So again, we invite you to visit our website. I think that's a great place to first stop and see if the information is noted there. As Christine mentioned, she's available for meetings, and the tuition and financial aid page is quite robust as well. So please visit that page. We will continue to have events this fall. So please visit our admissions page for upcoming events. And we actually have one question here that came in, and that's about security. So Christine, if you'd like to answer that one.
Sure, yeah. So we have a security operations team that covers campus. During the school day, they're basically in place by 7:30 or so in the morning, and kind of the main points that they're stationed is in the parking lot. So we have a security in the upper lot by the high school. So we've got cars coming in that way, and then we also have a parking attendant security individual that's down in the lower lot as well. So, and then kind of supplementing that, we also have an operations manager that kind of oversees, and he's sort of a floater. He's watching the cameras. We do have cameras located all across campus, and we have staff monitoring. We have also walkie-talkies with our key high school and operational people, and they are prepped and trained to be able to respond extremely quickly. We have an emergency preparedness policy and protocol, and we are sort of exercising that and reviewing that throughout the year. We have several different drills that we do with the students and with our community at several points during the year. So we really do feel proud of our emergency preparedness plan and just our structure to make sure that our campus is safe and secure for our students and our community. If there's any specific questions, I can take those as well. Anything additional?
Thank you. We have two questions in the chat that are similar. One is about, let's see, sorry, scrolled up. How many slots are available for freshmen and how many apply? So we do have, we're hoping for 100 incoming ninth graders. Our total enrollment is usually at 400. And of course, we have our boarding program as well that figures into that. So we have 100 slots for freshmen, and we usually see an applicant pool of over 200 students. And so we are on target to reach that again this year. I really, and there was a question about admit rate, and I just worry about answering this question just because there's so much pressure around this process already. And I truly, having been in college admissions, I worry by disclosing our admit rate that it's going to make it seem like, oh, I don't have a chance of getting in. But I really want you to walk away knowing that, yes, we are competitive, but at the same time, not to the point where we can't actually, accommodate your child. Maybe she's not a straight A student, and we, like I said before, we really do well with students who are curious, but maybe they're not all about school. Maybe they're an academic and an athlete and an artist, or an academic and a service leader. And so we love the lopsided students, as we tend to call them, and we also love the well-rounded students. So I want to assure you that this is a human process, and we really do our very best to make sure that we craft a class that matches our mission. Let's see, could you restate the deadlines that we are to be sure not to miss? Absolutely. I will, actually, I was going to put that in the chat, so I will do that. You can also find our deadlines on our website, and we also have a handout that we've been giving out at all of our events that notes the deadlines as well. But feel free to give me a email or call if you have any questions about the deadlines, but everything is on our website under the admissions page. Okay. We have time for one last question. I want to be mindful of your evening here. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. You will be receiving a communication from us on Monday. We will be sharing our comp codes for our fall play that will take place the first week of November. So they are on a first come, first served basis. So please make sure to get your tickets as soon as you receive that message on Monday. And then a second email will be going out with the recording of tonight's session. So thank you so much again. Don't hesitate to email or call if you have any questions.